This fan base always makes me laugh. Like, they just always make me laugh.
Well, they said this isn't a correct depiction of them. And I have to say it is the most accurate depiction I've ever heard.
I just wish someone said, your mother is a dirty, dirty whore. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sports Experience Podcast. I'm your co-host, Dominic DiTolla, sitting next to co-host Chris Quinn, and we are in the midst of our Fans Behaving Badly series.
That's right.
And today, we're going to get on the football field and see the NFL's most passionate, most insane, most lovable fans basically show who they are.
Well, this one, we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is when they boo and pretty much assault Santa Claus.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, in a December game, December 15th, 1968, Philadelphia and the Eagles fans, during halftime of a Christmas pageant at Franklin Field, decide to boo Santa Claus because their team is shitty. They can't draft a certain running back who starred in the Naked Gun films and, got away with, well, we can get into that later.
We will.
They booed Santa. They threw rocks. They threw snowballs. They threw bottles, apparently. Probably D-cells, But the 1968 season for the Eagles was not good, and it all culminated in this shit show of fans behaving badly.
But, just like this podcast, let's go all the way back.
We got to take it back. 88 in the DeLorean it, baby.
That's right.
In 1960, the Philadelphia Eagles were on top of the NFL world. And when I say that, that was the year they beat the Green Bay Packers in the NFL championship game, led by Norm Van Brocklin, someone we desperately need to do an episode on after this series. That guy was fucking a great Hall of Fame player, an insane person. But 1960, they win the championship. It was actually their last NFL championship until that Super Bowl most recently with U of A's own Nick Foles.
Yeah.
1961, they go 10-4, which is like, okay, they're still a really competitive team. Then 4 straight losing seasons, followed by a 9-5 record in 1966, and people are like, okay, we're back on the upswing. We got some young talent. Everything's going to be going good. But then in 1967, they go 6-7-1 and are a middling franchise. But by that same token, they're thinking, well, we could still be in the thick of it in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like in the NFL title race, everything like that.
This next season, yeah.
Yeah. And you're thinking things will be decent. But in 1968, the bottom fucking falls out on this franchise and head coach Joe Kuharich.
Well, they say that this is probably the worst Eagles team of all time.
Yeah, Ray Didinger, a Hall of Fame sports writer, he's like Mr. Philadelphia Eagles historian. He's basically gone on record multiple times saying, like, this was the biggest fucking trash heap of a team that the city has ever had.
And we have this kind of culminate, like you were saying, in this just like horrible event for Santa. Santa over there.
How can you boo Santa?
Let's put it in perspective. So the whole season they're getting absolutely destroyed.
I want to go into this actually a little bit. And they start the year off horribly because they're losing to teams in their own fucking division and they're getting fucking trounced. Week 1, they lose 30-13 against the Packers, who are defending world champions. So it's like, but this is before the very dark period of Packers football, before Mr. Dick Pick McGee and Mike Holmgren show up. But they lose 30-13 to the Packers. Week 2, they lose 34-25 to the Giants. Week 3, 45-13 to the Cowboys. 17-14 to the Redskins in week 4. So you're already lost to your 3 teams in your division.
Yeah.
And you're 0-4. Then they lose to the Cowboys 34-13 in week 5. 29-16 to the Bears in week 6. In week 7, though, they're 0-6.
Yeah,
and
which
they have
is
a very
horrible.
pivotal game against their in-state rivals who, up until this point in their franchise, have never even enjoyed some success like the Eagles. They've been absolute dog shit, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Both of them are 0-6 coming into this game.
Oh, damn.
And the feeling is, because they're both widely viewed as the 2 worst teams in the NFL at this juncture, the loser of this game will get the fancy, shiny new prize in the following year's NFL draft. Do you know who that is, Chris?
I do, and I thought this was interesting that you were almost hearing of tanking back then.
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
We had this gentleman named
Orenthal James?
Orenthal James Simpson.
He had a great career as an actor and an advertiser for Hertz. Only man to rush for 2,000 yards in a 14-game NFL season. And then was on TV as a NBC as a sideline reporter for NFL games, and then we never really heard from OJ after that.
Well, some people just kind of step out of the limelight and they decide that their lives need to, be a little bit more quiet because they might have done something.
Well, I don't think. Well, according to the state of California, he didn't do anything wrong.
Damn right.
But anyway, they called this game. The reason I bring this up is they called this game the OJ Bowl.
Yeah, because literally this was, everybody could see what a great running back OJ Simpson was going to be. What a great first.
And he was a Hall of Fame player.
There was no doubt. That was the thing, especially with college back then, where guys were playing 4 years without a doubt, and they were really manufacturing. Like, you could see OJ was the number one pick.
And as a running back, it was a very highly valued position at that point.
I was just going to say,
fucking crown
if you were
jewel.
OJ coming out now, they'd be like, you're going to go 10th, buddy, which is unbelievable for a running back. But yeah, so you have him coming out, and like you were saying, these were the two teams vying for the worst records.
Oh, I know. Yeah, and it was a dog shit game. It was a complete dog shit game. Both teams are inept, hapless. The Steelers end up winning 6-3.
Yep.
So they're out of the OJ Bowl, but I will bring one thing up. While they didn't get the first pick, they, I think, got the fourth pick that year. It was Chuck Noll's first season in 1969, and they used that to draft Mean Joe Green and turn their franchise fucking around.
Look at that spider web.
Look at that goddamn stuff. I'm a Steeler fan. I kind of have to know that. But anyway, the next 2 weeks, they just keep that losing train on. It's like Rachel Phelps peeling sections after a loss, basically.
They just definitely keep that OJ train going.
There's a naked OJ, and you're taking pieces off of the fucking jersey and pants after every loss. But no. The next two games, they lose 45-17 to the St. Louis Cardinals, 16-10 to the Redskins and/or football team, and they're 0-9. And these Philly fans are passionate. It's like the Bill Burr rant from that fucking Opie and Anthony comedy show. Like, fuck the Eagles and candy striper uniforms for the Phillies. Fuck the Flyers and 76ers. Yeah, you all suck.
But they're one of the most passionate fans, and they're coming off of this feeling that we are one of the dominant franchises into this realization of like, oh shit, we're the worst team in football.
We're 0-9 and the only light at the end of the tunnel is a future crime of the century person.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's basically what's keeping these people probably going, is just like, come on, keep losing.
Yeah.
So they're 0-9, and then they keep on losing. They lose to the Giants 7-6, and then they're blown out by the Browns 47-13. They're 0-11. There are 3 games left in the season. There are 3 games left. All you really need to do is lose 2 of the 3, and you have it locked up.
All you need to do is lose, and what do they start doing?
They play their next game on Thanksgiving in Week 12. November 28th, 1968. And what they have is the opposite of a fucking Thanksgiving Day miracle. They beat the Detroit Lions in Detroit 12-0 for a shutout and their first win of the season. Which, I always find it funny. You know who was on this Eagles team?
No.
And it was probably like, it almost killed his NFL career. Mike fucking Ditka.
Really?
Yeah. Name of the hurricane was Hurricane Ditka.
Oh,
but yeah,
interesting.
Ditka was on this. I think he was there 67 and 68 when they were dog shit. And then the winning just doesn't stop.
Well, that's the thing is, at this point, as a fan, you're like, okay, we all get it.
Okay,
get out there.
We're not an embarrassment.
Yeah, get out there. We don't want to be embarrassed, but we really don't want you guys putting up a bunch of points. We don't want you shutting teams out. Get your fucking backup corners in. Get your backup defensive line in. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm saying.
But, they're 1-11. So it's not that bad.
No, they're still in the hunt. Line.
And it's like, you know what? At least we won one game. We can be like, okay, we're not the first like major team to not win a game during a season in the modern era. But then the next week happens, and Philadelphia, this fucking sucks. They're playing a crappy Saints team a year removed from expansion. This is even pre-Archie Manning, and they win 29-17. Which, by that same token, by winning that game to go 2-11, if Buffalo loses their last game of the season, because Buffalo is 1-11-1 at that point, no matter what the Eagles do, even with the loss.
Yeah, they can't take it. So
they can't do it.
Even with a loss at this point, they can't go get O.J. Simpson. Which was, like you were saying, it was literally the only light at the end of this tunnel of this fucking year where they were like, yeah, man, but OJ's coming.
Yeah.
And it was just like, no, he's not.
This guy will come to save us now. He will be our black Jesus. And it didn't happen. So they're already feeling down and dejected over this, right? They're already fucking salty, and they still have a game left to play.
Yep.
It's December 15th, 1968, as I brought up before, against a rapidly improving, I believe they made the playoffs this year in the Super Bowl after Minnesota Vikings squad.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to bring up about this 68 Eagles, how truly crappy they were 15th out of 16th in the league in points per game with 14.4. They were 13th out of 16th in points allowed with 25.1. And like I said before about Ray Dittinger, they were the worst team the Eagles have ever put on the field in their history at that point.
Yeah.
So they end up playing this game, and because obviously you have to, and they go up 7-0, and this just enrages everyone who's in. It's a shitty day. It's cloudy. There's snow. There's a ton of snow in the stadium.
Well, let's get into the day. So the day before, the morning of, a shit ton of snow fell, like pretty much a blizzard. And normally they will have staff clear it out. So like that's just a normal thing. When they got to the stadium, they realized there was no way they were going to clear out all this snow. So when people were arriving to their seats, some of them were still buried. So they literally were having to move it out. So there's just piles of snow everywhere. So it wasn't like there was like, oh shit, there's a little snow over there. There's like literally like snowmen unbuilt just like all over the stadium. Just so you know, they're just like prepping for this to go on later.
Well, and all they're doing is just creating more ammunition for the fans
what I mean,
to later throw. It's just like, here you go.
Man. I wish this didn't happen on Dozen Egg Night.
Yeah, right? Or all I think of is fucking that Simpsons with Whitey Ford, and here come the pretzels. Yep. It's a dark day for baseball, chick.
It's a dark day for baseball. But so there was so much snow and the blizzard was so bad, the Santa that they had hired was stuck in New Jersey.
Yeah,
he was
so
like,
he couldn't make it.
That's where Santas live on the East Coast. I don't know if anybody knew that.
Well, they all live in everything lives in New Jersey, Chris.
So he couldn't get out of New Jersey. So the entertainment director's like, well, shit,
because they have a Christmas pageant at halftime every year of like the last game.
Yep. Yeah. And he's like, we need a Santa. If you see a Santa, come in, because this is pre-everything.
This is pre-internet, cell phones, everything. Yeah. So like, they find a guy at the stadium dressed as Santa, because he always dressed as Santa. His name was Frank Olivo, who was a 19-year-old, 5'6", 146 pounds. And he had dressed up like Santa for his family and things like that. He seemed just like a fun guy.
Yeah, well, that's something that I saw, because like they found him, they went and asked him if he wanted it, and his quote was, "I figured, what the heck, this could be fun." And that was, if you sound like, if you look at who this guy was, like you were like, yeah, he sounds like just a fun guy. And then his next quote was, little did I know what was going to happen. That was it. So he was just like, I was looking to go out and be like, yeah, I'm Santa. And then he was like, oh, I had no idea. So they ask him to do this pageant, essentially. So like,
he rides out in a car.
Car. He's supposed to have like a sack, but they gave him like an Eagles training bag because that's all they had. And one of my favorite parts of this, like we were saying going into this episode, why this describes Philly fans, and I bet we're going to get some heat from it, but that's all right. The PA announcer goes, "All right, everybody, let's give Santa a welcome. Let's give Santa a big Philadelphia welcome."
Oh, they gave him a Philadelphia welcome.
Some say, no, that's not us. And others say, yeah, that was pretty accurate.
Just a bunch of pissed off people. And
well, as soon as they announced that,
the booze rained down.
It was just, they were like the entire stadium came in with booing. Like
Matt Millen, the NFL player and shitty GM for the Lions, he was there as a kid. And he was just like, yep. That's exact. He said he saw old women throwing shit at Santa Claus.
Well, and that's what they said was it first was everybody booing, and then everybody realized they could throw snowballs. So he literally was getting hit, and people were saying by like 100, 200 snowballs. So like that's hitting him. So he probably had like 1,000 thrown at him.
Yeah. Fucking snowballs. They had beer bottles, and then beer cans.
They said it kept escalating. That's what they were saying.
Apparently people were throwing fucking hoagies at him.
Yeah. Hoagies, batteries. Like anything they could get their hands on. Yeah, rocks. They literally were just like pulling shit up and just chucking it.
You know what I don't understand? You're throwing at this poor kid who's dressed as fucking Santa Claus instead of your team that's 2-11 and can't draft. Like if they were pelting the players, I'd have a little bit more respect for them.
Well, they can't take their anger out on the players. They had to take it on good old Saint Nick.
And fucking teenager.
To his credit, he was the whole time had a good attitude.
Yeah, no, that man took it. It's apparently one guy hit him with one and he yelled back, "You're not getting anything for Christmas this year."
Which I feel like that kind of took the heat away from it because they fucking pelted him with everything. One of the best quotes from somebody said, "It was the only fun part of the entire game. We were all in on it." Yeah. But it was like the whole stadium was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck Santa Claus.
Oh my God.
Take my hoagie.
Take my hoagie, you fat bastard.
And the hoagie was delicious because it was from a Wawa. So I'm just saying.
Exactly. Oh shit. Dude, my brother-in-law is from PA. Like he fucking loves Wawas.
Well, I mean, that's what people say. It was just like, no, that's great. The hoagies there are the greatest in the world.
Oh my God. Like, Santa's like, hey, free present. All right. You should have picked one up and started eating it and kept waving like, fuck you bastards. But so the Eagles end up losing this game.
Well, hold on. I want to say this.
No, let's keep talking. Yeah.
Because all this happens. He's sitting at like the 40-yard line. That's why they were able to recognize him or like see him in the stadium. And then he just goes back to his seat and everybody like gives him a big like round of applause and everyone's like laughing. And
it's just fucking great.
What was so great was like everyone was just like, yeah, we're Philly. You know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, we're Philly. And then nobody acted like it was a big deal.
No.
And even in like the paper afterwards, it wasn't like a big deal until like it got picked up by national media. We're like, holy shit, they assaulted Santa.
And all this dude got for his trouble was fucking football cufflinks and a tie rack.
Yep. Which he was asked to sell.
I'm not getting rid of those. Yep. Fuck, dude. Those are great.
But what happened with Philly in the game? Just to tie that up.
They ended up losing. Minnesota, their purple people eaters beat the shit out of them.
Well, they ended up losing and not getting OJ. Yeah. Which that's the thing that I love so much.
They drafted Leroy Keys, another running back who was a huge NFL draft bust.
Yep.
Which is like even more salt in that wound.
Well, you see just the way this franchises are just like one piece away from drafting like this huge thing, and the Eagles had a horrible
oh my God, dude, could you
70s, so it's obvious to be like they could have had a great 70s
until the invincible guy showed up with Dick Vermeil. But
drops his pants, that's he's just in tighty whities. I'm just saying it was a different movie for me.
I got super fucking baked, and I was thinking about this recently, and I was like, could you imagine the riots in Philly if he played for the Eagles, OJ, after that trial? My God.
It's ridiculous.
They would have had him on billboards.
But that's what I mean as the way this spiders off, and Philly almost had OJ, but they didn't. And then
shoulda, but didn't.
And I'll tell you what they probably would have done no matter what. Assault Santa.
Oh, assault Santa. Yeah, easily. I bet you even if they were able to draft him number 1,
Yeah.
they still would have done that to Santa
know.
Claus. They still would have done it.
That's my favorite part, was him going back into his seat and everybody just being like, fuck yeah, man, that's the shit.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah, he didn't take it personal.
I'm sure someone probably
They
bought him
didn't-
a beer.
I know. They were just like, yeah, Santa, and it wasn't big fucking local news. That was my favorite, was once it hit national news, they were like, oh, but in Philly, they were just like,
Yeah, but it's like you gain that reputation because your local media knows that's exactly how a majority of your fans act.
Yep.
Like, God.
awesome.
I know, right?
All right. Thank you all.